Welcome back to the curse of potentially like the blood splatter.
Oh God.
Yeah.
No.
So I'm going to have someone do a recap. All right. You are 1.
Yes, I am.
Kane is 2. Indra is 3. And Zug is 4. And it's a 4. Zug! So, what do you remember from last session, Zug? Nothing. He remembers nothing. We can't hear you.
He's not speaking, he's just miming words to get out of having to do the recap.
Oh. Yeah.
He's like, oh, my mic's broken.
Must be broken.
Can you guys hear me? I switched over to my good mic.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay. My headset died at the most appropriate time. What I remember about last time.
Okay, so Sindra, recap. Yeah.
Good one, Zug. I'm going to tap in, just give in a little bit of extra detail. So we picked up last session in the kitchen, and a pregnant lady named Demira burst in through the front door, and she's with a midwife who appears to be deeply troubled. When she gives birth to the baby, it's not crying at all, and she was just super distraught about that. We learned that when someone is born in this world, if they are not crying, that means they don't have a soul. And babies that are able to cry and laugh, when they die, they look for basically another vessel that looks and appears just like their old self. And then they're kind of reborn. So I kind of get her to come outside with me, or the midwife, to come out and talk to me a little bit. She told us all of that. I asked her if she would trust Ilya being brought back, and she said she would speak to him. She still was kind of feeling uncomfortable. She sits down with him, and we recognize that they kind of know each other, but like things appear to be somewhat normal. Kane and I notice while we're in there that Irina seems like she is looking at nothing and having a conversation with no one. And then Irina just walks out the front door, and she says a voice is calling her. Okay. Good night, I love you. Hold on, guys, I'm sorry.
The voice is calling her.
Good night, I love you.
Aww.
Anyways, yes, we notice that she's having a conversation. She walks outside. So she leads us to the edge of the blessed pool, and a handsome figure appeared in the pool. He calls her Tatiana and tells her to come in. We see like a watery hand come in, and Zug smacks it out of the way. And I believe that was when Danielle said that we condemned her. So the gazebo cracks and breaks, and the blessed pool turns dark and murky. And Irina tells us that that was Tatiana's betrothed, and his name was Sergei, and he was Strahd's brother. Strahd murdered Sergei and took Tatiana for himself, and when he married her, she killed herself. Irina is super determined, and she says she's just going to leave, and she's going to face Strahd head on. And everyone basically talked her into staying with the group and not going off on that suicide mission just yet. And then she says that we should go back to the cottage. So we get there, and I kind of sneak around the back, and we look through a window, and we just see blood everywhere. And Remy sends a mental message to the midwife, and she says he killed him. And that was all.
That was a great recap.
Thank you.
We were all so grateful for you. That's a better recap than I could do. That's good.
Thank you. I take lots of notes.
I love your notes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, you take physical notes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess you could like take a photo. It would be helpful for
Yeah, I can.
viewers.
If everyone else can read my writing,
Oh yeah, it's a crazy pants.
I can share them though.
All right. So we pick up where we left off. And Ramis is knocking at the front door. Sindra was knocking at the back door. There was no response and no reaction to all of the knocking. And Sindra goes around to the side window, and this time upon getting closer, Sindra is able to look in and see, firstly, that there is blood splattering all over the floor, and upon closer inspection, that the looks upon the faces of those inside is stunned horror.
And who do we see inside? It's the midwife.
So Sindra is able to see the midwife, who is sitting next to Demira, who is coddling her baby. And she's also sitting next to Ilya. And Anna is actually like rambling around the cottage. And Demira is horrified and like holding her son very tightly. And the midwife, who you still do not know her name, looks also horrified. Ilya does not appear to look horrified. Yeah, no look of horror on his face.
Ilya's the wee boy.
Mhm.
The
He's
resurrected boy.
the resurrected boy, yeah. Dimitri told you that he was just 14 when he died. So
The
presumably,
teenage boy.
presumably still 14
And 2 weeks.
and like 10 days, but yeah. All right. So kind of gonna real time a little bit here. What are you guys going to do next?
Well, based on the message back, Ramis is going to start trying to get into the door, perhaps. Because it's barricaded or it's locked?
It's locked.
Ramis is going to start trying to pick the lock and then kind of turn behind him to, I guess, Zug and Kane are with. Well, and like
And
Irina.
as and Irina and as Mark.
um
Whole gang.
like terrified and hurriedly is like, we have to get inside. Something has happened.
Ismark waits at your like signal to sort of help out with whatever you want to do if you want
I'm trying to pick the lock.
Yeah.
I don't know the skill I have to roll for that actually.
to. For lock picking, probably a straight dexterity check.
Sleight of hand.
Oh, sleight of hand. Yeah, let's go with that. That's it's dexterity modifier.
Oh, that's a 14.
With a 14, you are able to jiggle the lock, and you can start to feel that the door feels like it might be coming loose, but you've not made total progress yet. It might take you a little bit longer. But it's starting to like, you can move it more than you could before.
Would you like to use my foot?
I don't know.
I try
Wait. What kind of? Can you describe the lock for me again in a little bit more detail?
Oh, don't you have knock or something?
I have an idea that I'm gonna try, and then if Danny thinks that it's dumb or doesn't want me to do it, then cool. But I think it's a cool idea. I think it's a cool
Okay,
idea.
I like Ramis is like just turns to Kane and is like, help me with this.
Yeah. The lock is a pretty standard like door lock. It doesn't seem to have any mechanisms that look out of the ordinary.
Okay. Kane takes out his water skin and he uses what's it called? Let me check real quick here. Shape water. It was a cantrip that I picked up. I'm gonna flow the water out of the skin into the lock and then freeze it, causing it to expand
Ooh.
And lift all the pins.
and just basically shatter the lock essentially internally.
Are you telling me that you cast Shatter?
I am essentially casting Shatter on this lock.
Cantrip version.
Yeah.
Cantrip.
That's a little bit of an inside joke between me and Nate, because in our other D&D campaign, I cast a spell called Shatter, and I literally destroyed our DM's like whole storyline with this one like stupid tiny spell.
Roll with it though. He was
He did.
he was
Shatter.
visibly shocked.
It
Though.
was very funny.
It's excellent.
And now we use like I cast Shatter to like anything that like ruins something. Okay, so you cast Shatter, great, and the lock essentially gives in, and the door unhinges.
I'm gonna melt the ice and put it back inside the water skin.
As that's happening,
I need this later.
Ramis is running inside.
Okay. So Ramis runs into the house. How about everyone? I kind of want to just like real time what everyone's doing.
If I see the door open, I would have run around to the front door to join the rest of
All right, so
my
Cinder's
peeps.
also gonna attempt to run around the side back to the front door.
I'm gonna stand right outside in the middle of the door frame.
No
No one's getting out.
Yeah. So, as you guys run inside, you are able to see Ramis sees first. Dimitri, who is laying on the floor, and the midwife, Demira, Ilya are on the couch, baby in Demira's arms. Anna, who potentially appeared to Sindra as she was like moving around doing some chores, is not doing chores, but she's running around in panic and turmoil, collecting materials. And you see Dimitri is laying on the floor, blood in a pool of blood, and his throat is slashed open. And and there's blood splattering that looks like there might have been, you know, sort of a collapse at some point, that this happened while he was standing and then maybe he fell. And Ilya is clutching a silver knife spattered in blood. As soon as you all burst into the house, Ilya stands up and runs towards the back door, opens the back door, and attempts to run out the back.
Oh no, he won't.
You can attempt to chase him.
Yeah,
Do I
I'm
get a
gonna do
read
that.
on how fast he is compared to me?
Probably similar speed.
He's like a little kid, right? His legs aren't as long. as
14.
Sunny's.
14.
So
Okay.
he's pretty fast.
Okay, I guess I'll chase after him.
Yeah, I want to chase after him too. I want to try to.
Well, okay, so if Syndra's
Unarm him.
chasing him, I will let her pass and I will try to tend to
Syndra's a good chaser.
what's his fucking name?
The Beagle Masker.
The
Beagle
hot
Master.
dog meister. Yeah, so I think in that case, yeah, Ramis will kneel down next to Dimitri, and like his throat is slit. Like, how do mortal wounds work in D&D where we can all take damage and take healing potions and stuff like that? Like, can I like try to heal him? Like,
Yes, you can try to heal him if he's like downed or if he's taking damage. But you can't heal someone who is dead.
he is dead.
You don't know that yet.
Okay, well, I am going to medicine check.
Yeah. So before we deal with what is inside, so Ramis is going to stay inside and do his best to tend to Dimitri, who's laying on the floor. Sindra is going to try to sprint after Ilya and chase him.
Mhm.
Did
And
Kane see the kid running?
if you like entered into the house or if you were standing by the door, then you'd see him, bolt out.
Okay. How far is he by the time I realize this?
Probably like 30 to 40 feet.
Okay. Can I cast Whole Person on him?
You can try to.
Okay. Yeah, so I've got the range for it. They must succeed in a wisdom saving throw.
Does this spell work with like obstruction between you and the target?
I think I need to have line of sight on them.
Okay. By the time that you're able to react to this, because he's already getting up and running out the door almost before you guys are barging in, he's probably out the door and out of your exact line of sight by the time that you're actually able to react.
Can I move to see him before I attempt to cast it?
You can based off of where you are and like looking at the cottage, like it would actually probably be faster for you to go outside the house and go around the side to see him than go through the house. So you could try to do that. And
I guess I'm not
depending
going
on
to.
how quickly he is able to run away from you versus how quickly you are able to react and move over into line of sight and stay in his range.
Can I see a position from which I'm fairly confident I would be able to see him based on his trajectory? Kane's pretty smart.
No. So the cottage that he is in happens to be like right towards the city gate. And there's basically a mountain kind of like, so like the city's kind of like in mountains, and then there's like hills that are kind of around the city, and there's this big city wall. So basically he's kind of darting back and around the house and out, it would be like to the eastern side of the city. And there's tons of trees everywhere. So he's going to be able to like duck into the trees pretty quickly.
Can I see
I would let
Syndra?
you roll against his dexterity to see if you can like get within his range.
Can I see Syndra?
Yes, probably.
I'm going to give Syndra the advantage instead. Then I'm going to cast invisibility on her.
Ooh.
That's fun.
Go get him, Syndra.
Okay.
And it's going to be in the form of a high five as she passes by. And as we make the high five connection, she just goes invisible.
Oh,
Sweet.
pretty cool.
Pretty badass.
I'm gonna let it happen. Okay, and Ilya is making no attempt to conceal his location. Even though he is running quickly, he is also shouting as he is running. He is running to the north side of the town. So you guys are currently on the south side of town. So the city entrance is on the south side of the village. And he is running north towards the Abbey.
Obviously.
Okay.
And as he's running down, darting around, and he makes his way out into the forested area, you can hear him yell, and he screams, let's see, do I have a voice for this?
Little good
Do I have a voice for a creepy 14-year-old boy? He screams, "How exciting! How grotesque! I'm now the ruler of Kresk!"
I hate that a lot.
Just kill him.
He repeats
Just kill this kid.
himself. He repeats himself. And he is cackling.
Okay.
So I will let you roll against his dexterity to see if you can catch up to him.
Okay.
Shoot him in the
Dex
knee.
modifier.
Where are you?
Where is Syndra compared to me?
I mean, you're inside the house, right?
She's already left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not Nat, but I got 20.
Oh, damn.
Beat that, you fucking dexterous kid.
Well, he rolled really high, but
What?
but his dex modifier is not high enough to beat you. So you are going to be able to catch up with him, but it's going to take you time.
Okay.
You'll probably have to chase him for like 5 minutes to be able to catch up.
Okay.
And he's going to
Leave.
scream that the whole time as he makes his
That's-
way towards the back of the town.
So creepy. Okay.
And he's clutching the silver knife. He is still holding it, as far as you know.
So I have a hempen rope. Can I try to am I close enough to try to lasso him? Like tie him up?
Just tackle him. Don't give the
Tackle
DM any-
someone with a
any
knife.
if you-
Mm.
You want to lasso him?
Maybe, or trip him. Kind of throw him off.
Yeah, I mean, eventually you will get close enough that you can lasso him. Like, you are going to gain slow, steady speed. You're going to gain on him slowly.
Yeah.
So when you get close enough, you can try to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would like to do that.
Okay, so
And then I want to try to do sleight of hand if I can lasso him around the throat or something, just yoink him back, and then try to grab his knife off of him. Then I can attempt to tie him up with the rest of the rope.
that seems like a very complicated maneuver.
It does, but I don't
One
know.
that might
man.
require dexterity, maybe.
Which I have. I got
Yeah.
acrobatics. I got sleight of hand. I got
Rope.
I got rope.
Rope.
This is definitely not a sleight of hand maneuver.
Would
It
be
sounds like acrobatics to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably either acrobatics or athletics. Probably more acrobatics, right?
I would think so.
300 feet.
Athletics tends to lean more toward brute strength, and acrobatics tends to lean more toward dexterity. That's why they're based.
Acrobatic stunts. Yeah. Okay. So, this is more like precision, right? What do you think it is? Also, you are stealthed, so you're gonna get a little advantage on trying to do something like this.
Mhm.
But
Would,
Yeah, I
is
think-
there any chance that I would get close enough to him to do sleight of hand and get the dagger away without having to lasso him?
I mean, mid-run. Again, you can try to do any of this, but the DC is gonna be very high if you try to do a really difficult maneuver.
Okay.
yeah. So
Mm,
if you try to get close enough to someone to pick a knife out of their hand while they are sprinting, that's just going to be a very high DC to clear. So I'm just letting you know that if you try that and you don't clear the DC, something bad could happen.
Okay.
Which is hopefully that's a normal, obvious thing. I just want to
yeah,
make that clear to you.
I would assume if I failed something,
If you
It would
roll
not
one
be-
while trying to pull
Yeah.
the knife out of his hand while he's mid-run, you could
am I going to trip
accidentally
and fall on the knife myself?
stab yourself in the leg.
I mean, I think hard rules. I think grappling would be the closest thing to this.
To lassoing?
Yeah, or I would just skip the lasso and just grapple. Because there is, it looks like there is a disarm maneuver once you're in a grapple.
Okay.
And it looks like, I mean, just being very meta, but I think it looks like you could use acrobatics to grapple and disarm, which would probably give you an easier dice roll.
Mhm.
If the DM approves this course of action.
You can try anything, but I will make the DC accordingly.
Okay.
It looks like you're not supposed to be able to do disarming unless you're trained as battle master.
It says disarm is optional rule / action that may or may not be present.
Up to you, Danny. Make a call.
Because this is in
Here's
the
a question.
Dungeon
Here's a question. I have a fancy version of Mage Hand that lets me pick locks from afar. Could I try to use that and trip him?
Master.
Grab his ankle?
Yeah, but Mage Hand I think has an ability that's up to 5 pounds. So the strength of that is going to if you imagine a 5-pound weight, how much would that
Yeah.
inhibit someone? And that's what we're gonna go with. So like, yes, but again, like DC is gonna be high.
Okay. I mean, I think I should just try to like jump on him and grapple him and disarm him.
You can definitely try to jump on him. And yeah. So you're gonna be able to catch him. The question is like, what do you want to do once you catch him?
Yeah.
So you tell me what you want to do, and then I will tell you to roll for it. How about that?
All right. I think I would like to run up and maybe trip him with the rope if I can, to get him to like fall over. And then I would ideally try to disarm him and tie him up. So I want to
Okay.
try to trip him first, disarm him, and then tie him up if I can.
All right. So as you chase him and gain on him, eventually you get close enough that you're able to sort of interact, and you're still invisible, and
Yeah.
he does not necessarily know that you are there. So you are going to attempt to trip him with the rope. You're gonna like throw a rope at him? How does that work?
I think I'll like, I can take like, you know how if you like do jump rope and stuff, like take slightly less than that amount and like I want to throw it over him and kind of yank it back like that.
Oh, that sounds fun. It's like that
Penguin
episode of SpongeBob when
clothesline.
like Sandy lassos Patrick and
Yeah,
SpongeBob
yeah.
yanks him back. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this is gonna definitely be acrobatics.
Okay. All right. And I get advantage, right? Because I'm invisible?
Um
Or no?
the DC is just gonna be lower because you're invisible.
That is going to be a 24.
Oh yeah, that's gonna pass.
Nice.
Okay, so Sindra throws the hemp rope into Ilya's path, and unbeknownst to the boy, a rope appears basically out of nowhere, and he stumbles over it and falls to the ground, and he actually falls, like he falls the fuck down.
Onto his knife.
Not onto his knife.
Damn it.
But he does take a tumble.
Okay.
And he is prone.
Okay.
So whilst he's prone, you said you want to essentially like kind of grapple and attempt to disarm and tie.
Yes.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that while you're prone, grapple attempts like all succeed against you.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong about that, but I'm flying by the seat of my pants here.
Yeah. I'll take that roll. That sounds advantageous to us.
Yeah. And you are going to be able to successfully grapple, and you are able to also successfully disarm him and pull the knife away.
Okay.
Damn. So you tie him up, tie supposedly feet and or hands,
Mm-hmm.
and he is kind of sitting there, unable to move, but he is still kind of in a surprisingly good mood.
Ah, gross. Is he still chanting his creepy poem about killing his dad?
No, now he's just laughing and kind of cackling a little bit.
Soulless bastard.
I'm so uncomfortable. Okay. I guess I can't like drag him back to the cabin just yet. Was anyone following after me?
No, you were on your
one
own.
Followed after you as of yet. Yeah, so we'll hold on to that for a moment, and we'll sort of switch back over to the cottage. And in the cottage, Ramis has gone inside to tend to Dimitri and do what he can to assist. So you said you wanted to cast some sort of
I guess I'm just doing a medicine check first
medicine
to
check.
understand his condition.
Okay, so a medicine check is absolutely not required. He's dead.
He is dead.
He's dead.
He's not spouting blood.
He's dead.
Okay.
Yeah,
Who's dead?
Dimitri.
Okay.
Dimitri is dead. He's gone.
You said someone was running around trying to collect materials. Who was that?
Anna, Dimitri's wife.
I guess
is
like
she
Ramis will rush to her and just like try to calm her down. Just be like she's looking for like medical supplies, presumably.
Yeah, she's like looking for cloths and towels that she can.
I'll just like grab her and be like, he's gone. There's nothing we can do.
And Anna falls onto her knees and begins to sob.
Ramis will keep his hand on her, but also like try to like prestidigitate, not like sneakily, but like try to like clean up the graphic nature of the scene slightly.
Trying to hide the evidence.
I mean, in case she wants to keep her boy around, like this doesn't look good for him.
Yeah, so she is completely at her wit's end at this point. And the midwife gets up and she's like visibly shaking, and she helps Demira up off the couch as well. And she says, we will stay with Anna, and I will clean up. Go take care of that boy.
Do I understand what she means by take care of that boy?
She winks and makes a gun motion with her
She goes like,
hands. Go take care of him.
It's clear what she means by
No, it is not clear. No, she just says go take care of him. She does not allude to the fact that you should kill him or not. She just says take care of him. Take care of him.
Ramis will nod and start sprinting after Syndra.
So Ramis takes off after Syndra. Ez takes off after. Ez actually took off shortly after Syndra did and was following Syndra, or at least trying to.
The invisible Syndra.
Yeah. So Ez is actually already like out there, and Ez is probably gonna show up to the scene only 10 to 15 seconds after Syndra is able to get there.
She's quick on that one fucking leg, man.
She is quick. She's surprisingly acrobatic. And oh my gosh, names. Irina and Ismark are going to head inside the cottage, and Irina offers assistance to Anna in taking care of the house and helping her cope. Turns out Irina has a knack for that. So, all right. And how about Kane and Zug? Are you guys going to stay at the cottage or go and sort of assist with the crazy 14-year-old?
Zug, perhaps you should follow Syndra. She may need your assistance.
Are you going to be all right alone?
I have Ramis here. I'm clearly the safest amongst us all.
Ramis just took off. By the way.
Ramis did just.
Oh, he did?
Yeah,
Okay.
you are alone, sir.
Then we'll just go with. I didn't realize you'd run off.
Yeah,
to
Ramis
follow.
just took off as soon as the midwife told him to take care of the boy.
Yeah,
Ramis
it seems like all the work has been done here.
Yeah, we don't have to run after them, but we can slowly trot off to them. I don't know where we're going.
Over. Yeah. All right.
We'll be able to tell.
The rest of the party and Ez all kind of mosey on over. Well, Ez didn't mosey; she ran. And everyone eventually reaches Sindra, who has tied up the boy and has him laying there. And he is, even though he is wrapped up in a bunch of hempen rope, he is still cackling.
Is he trying to escape from it at all?
Not really. He's just kind of rolling around, like in very upsetting patterns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I like investigate him to see if I can figure anything out about him? Like if he's under the
Yes.
influence of something? I don't know if that would be investigation or.
Yeah, so I can actually have everyone in the party kind of roll a check to sort of understand what could be going on here.
Mhm.
And I think this is going to be.
Can I roll a religion check to see if he is just a soulless bastard now?
This one's kind of difficult, actually.
Insight or just general perception?
Yeah, I might. Yeah, okay. I actually think insight's good. Let's go with insight.
All right, everybody. Insight. 20.
There you go. That's the one to go for.
Yep.
6.
I got a 9.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Esmeralda rolled a 3.
Oh, what a dummy.
She doesn't know fucking
So
shit.
insightful.
Yeah. So you rolled a 20. And sorry, what did Zug and Kane roll?
I rolled a 16.
A 6.
This might be the first time I ever rolled higher than Kane, by the way. I just want to bask.
Ask for just a moment. Yeah, so Ramis is able to identify that these behaviors and mannerisms definitely resemble something that he learned in Bard School, which is that the patterns of laughing, patterns of speech are indicative of infinite madness. And
Infinite madness.
it appears as though Ilya is afflicted by some type of madness.
Like, and I would know that this is like of magical origin or not at all. Like would I think this happened when he was first raised, or this happened like between him being raised and like?
It's hard to know for sure, but based off of your hearings of like what has happened, it doesn't sound like he was mad before he died. No one has alluded to that.
Freshly
So
mad.
this has probably happened within the scope of dying and now.
And sorry, you referred to it as infinite madness. Is that like that's like a specific like ailment that I would know of, or it's just he's just mad, generally speaking? Yeah,
so it's based off of so with the 20, it's like there's, that like madness is like it's obviously a existing affliction, but there are different types of madnesses that can afflict people or creatures. And this one specifically that he is experiencing based off of the patterns and behavior that you're noticing isn't like a temporary state. And also you're no, not going to reveal that, but
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Ramis will look down upon the scene before him with Sindra restraining the strangely shouting boy, and kind of turn to the party and say, I've heard of this condition in New Olam. The boy was brought back mad. He must have been resurrected in this state. We should speak to the monk. Abbott.
Abbott.
Agreed. If the abbot was the one who brought him back, he surely must know more.
We should be cautious. I do not know if he is the one who afflicted the boy.
Agreed.
And the kid yells, I want to do it again.
In the meantime, we should keep him restrained. And
can we put a gag on him? Can I just take some cloth and
Doug, make sure he stops talking.
I will also have the party all roll perception checks.
Someone watching us in the woods.
18.
19.
19.
I got higher than Singdra. Eagle eyes.
So fancy.
Zug just happened to be staring off in the distance at the right exact spot.
Like the item in question is like waving at me.
It actually makes sense that Doug would notice this. It actually makes sense because a lot of you are like looking down at the kid and like absorbed in what's going on. And Zug is kind of the one who stands back and like, you know, sort of observes the surroundings. Zug notices like there's just a feeling that you're seeing here based off of where you are in relation to where the cottage is, that the kid was running north.
What
And
else is north?
Towards the Abbey, right?
to the Abbey.
Do I know if the
that.
Abbey is like, is it on the outskirts of town? Is there anything around it? Is it obviously he's going to the Abbey, or is there any other locations north?
The only other thing that is north in direction that he's going is the base of the Abbey, which is the pool, which is now murky. But yes, he's running that direction, and it appears as though he was running towards the switchback. And yeah, that's all. It just, he's yelling and hollering, and it looks like he's running towards the switchback. Yeah.
I would like to ask Ilya, where were you headed? See if I can get a straight answer from him. Probably not, but figured I might as well try.
And Ilya replies, where was I heading? To see my true father.
Wait, so he's not super mad. He can like understand that we're addressing him and
Yeah, madness is an affliction of character. It's not like you're crazy.
Really? Okay.
I mean, it seems like he's crazy in one way, but like he's articulate.
Yeah. Okay.
He's kind of like a psychopath.
Yeah.
Yeah, psycho, not bonkers.
Should we take him north to find out? Because I mean, the pool and the Abbey are north. Like,
You should punch him in the face.
Yeah.
I mean, I could always do that. Always
Knock
an
him
option.
I think we should be cautious about bringing him where he was urgently trying to go.
Yeah, but I'm very curious as to if he thinks that Abbott is his true father, or maybe something in that murky pool. The pool that is now murky.
I would think it would be the Abbot because he brought him back from the dead, like birthing him into this creepy existence. So,
Boy, who is it you think is your father?
He says, my father is the one who raised me.
Oh, okay.
No.
You have murdered a man. Do you know this? Do you understand this?
He says, yes,
You have murdered your true father.
it felt good. I would do it again.
Did Did your father want you to do this?
He started to lose track of what you were talking about.
Nice.
It's a poor attention span.
Good cross-examination there, Sindra.
He says, I do what I want. I do what I please.
Let's just tie him up and take him to the abbot. Then we can beat up both of them if need be.
Squirming around again.
Pommel slap him, Sindra.
I can. Well, like, can I like knock him out so he's just unconscious and we just throw him over Zug's shoulder and carry him with us?
You could choke him out too.
Or we can just tie him up. We have plenty of rope.
No, he's going to be making all that noise. We don't want to.
Yeah.
We can gag him. We can bind his arms and
Why do
legs.
you want to take him to the abbot? Like,
Because I'm very curious as to why he
Into
wants.
like some real bondage stuff here with this kid, man. Just like knock him out.
isn't there like there's got to be a town jail? Like, knock him out, tie him up, throw him in jail.
You want
There you
to
go.
tie him to a tree like a dog?
Yeah, tie him to a fucking tree. I don't know. He's a kid. He can't get out.
Okay. Yeah. How about we just compromise and tie him to a tree and then knock him out?
As long as we
Tie
all
him to the tree first, then knock him out.
Okay, so wait, are we knocking him out first or tying him to the tree first?
If we tie him to the tree, someone should stay back and watch.
I can do that.
That's what Esmeralda's for.
Oh,
Okay.
That's a good point.
But I get to knock him out.
NPC, like, let her do all the boring shit.
I feel like Danielle will punish us and he will somehow escape because we left him. with
From
this.
Ez?
I
Ez
don't
is like
know,
a
maybe.
boss tier. I mean,
Yeah, she's
if
a
she
great boss.
if Ez lets the kid escape, I dare say we wouldn't have had a chance at stopping him from escaping us.
That's true.
I think Ez should go see the abbot. I can stay behind.
Josh just doesn't want to partake in any RP conversation.
No, I can RP with an unconscious body.
Just want to keep knocking him unconscious.
First, you want to tie him up, then you want to RP with him when he's unconscious.
Every 30 minutes or so, we just pan back over to Zug sitting next to the kid, and the kid is suddenly like, what? Where am I? Bam!
Is there anything more we want to talk to the kid about before we leave him behind?
I don't think we're gonna get
Knock
anything
him in the head?
good out of
I don't
him.
know.
Clearly a psycho piece of shit now.
Remise is going to ignore the weird bloodlust of this child and be like, do you know that you have just been brought back?
Ilya looks up at you and he says, you are an interesting looking fellow.
You can call me handsome, I know. Answer the question.
I'm 14, you know.
So he doesn't know that he was just brought back from the dead.
His eyes are darting around as he looks up at you.
So
We
he
good?
didn't answer the question, or he said I'm 14 years
He's trying to engage you in conversation in a different way.
old. Tell us about your father who you were running to. Why did you want to see him?
He says, I think that there are more things for me up there.
There were more people down here you could have killed. Why did you not do that?
He sort of looks over at Zug, and he looks at Ez, and he looks at you, and he looks at Sindra, and he looks over at Kane, and he just like starts looking back and forth around everyone. And he says, I think my knife was a little puny for all of you.
You are very wise, if not crazy. For this, we will spare you for now. I kind of give Zug a nod. No further questions.
Before he has a chance to retort, I'll knock him out.
Where are you And the poor kid falls unconscious.
Did you say poor kid?
I mean, you hit him in the head pretty hard.
Financially, he is poor.
Oh, gotcha. He ran away from home. He has
He has nothing to his
no
name.
dragons to his name right now. Yeah.
Yeah, homeless.
So do we really want to tie him to a tree, or do you want me to just babysit him like 50 feet away from the abbot? So
Should we?
that way I'm not too
feel
far.
that we should
Yeah.
not take him to the abbot. This may have been his.
No, I'm not take him to the abbot, but I'll be like outside, in a bush somewhere. Or I can tie him to a tree. I'm fine either way.
Zug, there's a chance we may be getting into a fight here soon. Are you sure?
That's
You
why I'm
miss out on
suggesting
that.
something other than the tree. You know what? I'm gonna pop him over my shoulder, and we're gonna head out. We'll find a tree if you change your mind.
Okay. Let's go see the abbot then. If you don't mind carrying him, I don't mind him.
Tie him up and just carry him over his shoulder. That way, if he wakes up, he's all gagged and tied, and then we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Oh, we
I'll
should definitely gag him.
gag
Gag
him.
him real
For
good.
sure.
And
Sindra, can you add a loop?
Sindra, do you want to double check those knots, please?
Think I need to double check 9 knots? How dare you? Double check the knots, make sure they're secure. Put a little loop around his mouth.
Damn, guys.
He murdered.
You don't know what he
he's not a
is.
kid.
Yeah,
Ain't
fuck
taking
this
anything.
kid. Obviously a monster.
What is this DM sympathy for this demon child? No wonder she likes shitter.
Yeah, I have sympathy for tiny, cute things that murder.
Checks out.
Yes, I do. Yes. Look at this little teeny sweet murderer. Aw. She kept us up all night.
Oh, that's fun.
It was horrible.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
What was she doing? Just running around?
Things and tackling me and being generally awful.
That checks out for a cat in the nighttime.
Not Ace. Ace is a
That's
fucking
true.
angel.
It's true. Very chill.
I love Ace.
Ace was super chill. Speaking of which, we need to keep this thing awake so that it doesn't bother us tonight.
Oh.
Stay up. Stay awake. Okay.
No rest for the wicked.
Oh,
Exactly.
you're so cute. Oh.
Oh, there's floating, suspended right in front of you.
Oh. Oh, you can see it. Oh, it's good. All right.
We're going to the Abbey.
You guys are headed towards the Abbey. No. Oh, no.
Uh-oh, towards side quest.
Towards side quest.
So as you make your way towards the Abbey along the northern path, you reach the pool that is now all murky, gazebo trashed. And you come to the base of a winding road.
How far is like the Abbey? It's like an eye shot. It's like pretty far. Or?
Will you 2-finger just like 2 times on my trackpad? Boop, boop. Right there. Perfect. Thank you. You're amazing. So I will answer that.
Sorry to interrupt. I was just curious.
The switchback road that hugs the cliff is 10 feet wide, covered with loose gravels and chunks of broken rock. The ascent is slow and somewhat treacherous. The road climbs approximately 400 feet, doubling back on itself twice before reaching the Abbey. Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty close.
Bingo.
Yeah, it's not super far because the switchback road doubles back on itself, zigzags. So it's not that far away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely within eye shot. So you guys gonna head up the Abbey Road.
Yep. She came in through the bathroom window. She doesn't like the Beatles. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Game.
What?
What?
Ramis is gonna base all of his songs from now on the Beatles.
Okay. So you guys head up the treacherous climb. The air grows colder as it nears the top.
I kind of perceive as we're walking up
Yeah.
to see if there are any lurky presences in the woods.
Yeah, so like you guys are on the edge of kind of like a cliff with the switchback road.
Okay.
And it's a little cold and it's a bit misty. And the cliff is definitely kind of it's like dark and gray. There's a lot of gray around you. There's some like forest and trees down at the cliff base. But where you guys are is pretty barren. You can see the Abbey, and as you approach the Abbey, all right, I have to get rid of this. Okay. We can't go back to sleep though. Okay. The road that you guys are on is eventually the road from the village climbs eventually above the mists into the wide ledge on which the Abbey is perched. There's a light dusting of snow covering the trees and the rocky earth around. The gravel road passes between two small stone outbuildings to either side of which stretches a 5-foot high, 3-foot thick wall of jumbled stones held together with mortar. Blocking the road, there are iron gates attached to the outbuildings by rusty old hinges. They appear to be unlocked. Viewed through the gates, the stone abbey stands quiet. Its two wings are joined by a 15-foot high curtain wall. There's a belfry that protrudes from the rooftop of the closer north wing, which also sports a chimney billowing gray smoke.
I don't like this.
Yeah.
That sounds creepy and large.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Like this sounds like the beginning of
a fucking dungeon.
Diablo.
Yeah.
It's gonna have like 300 floors to it that are all
They go straight down.
exactly.
Are there any like windows that I can sneak around and peer inside of?
No, it is completely walled. Besides these two rocky outbuildings that have the iron gate that does appear to be unlocked.
And we've reached the gate.
You have reached the north gate. So interestingly, I told you guys you enter the town from the south, and then on the western side of town is where the Abbey is, northwest. And you guys head up the northwestern road, switchback, and the switchback road eventually crawls to the very northernmost side of town. And the gate is actually, I know this is kind of weird, but the gate is facing south. So you go all the way north, and then it sort of curves around, and the Abbey is right here, like on your right, but you have to go along the road, and then follow double back until you get to the gates. So
Do we notice anything about the Abbey as we pass by?
walls. So you see walls, but you can also see, the Abbey as you are going up, like you can see the top perches of the Abbey, and that's what you're seeing here.
Do we see any windows or anything like that? Or is it just wall?
Yeah, so on like the outside of the Abbey building, you don't really see any windows because it's not totally within your eye shot at that point. So you can see kind of the top of the building, but that's about it. There are kind of, I suppose, what I would say look like windows, but they are really dark or dusty. So it's hard to tell if they are actually windows.
Remise will proceed through the gate.
Okay, so you are going to walk up to the gate and pull it
Is
open.
it daytime?
At this time of day, it's probably close to like 4 p.m.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, Remise is comfortable proceeding.
Okay.
Because like I can see. I have like field of vision.
Yes, you can
Okay.
see.
Cool.
So the iron gates are unlocked, but as you pull it open, it squeals extremely loudly. Yep, that's the noise it makes.
Neb's just freaked out when you made that noise. It's okay.
Okay, so you open the gates, and suddenly 2 figures beyond these stone walls start to rouse themselves, and they stumble forth to confront you.
How far away are they? What do they look like? What's
They are not that far away, but you notice that they get up quickly, like rouse themselves, which appears as though they might have been asleep.
Rouse themselves from what? Like the ground?
death?
A bench?
A tomb?
Yeah, they're hanging out on the ground.
Were they supine? Were they sitting?
They were sitting under what appears to be a musty pile of animal furs.
Okay.
And
they're not saying anything. They're just approaching.
they get up, yeah, and they start to make their way over to you, and they approach. Both are very short. Is the first thing that you notice.
How far away from the party are they?
Probably like 15 feet.
Are they walking? Are they shambling? Maybe you see where I'm going with this.
They are walking, but one of them is walking in a non-human-like way.
Remise will just shout out a greeting.
On a scale of human to zombie, where is it lie
Yeah.
exactly?
Nowhere on the scale of human to zombie.
Okay.
It is on the scale of human to
Goblin.
Reanimated
large
corpse.
cat.
Oh man,
What?
I don't like it.
It's a
We got
werecat?
chimeras on our hands now.
What is like? Do we know what the abbey is a tribute to? Like, who is the deity that they worship here?
Yeah, so there is some pieces of information that you heard about the abbey. So let me see if I can give you those pieces of information that you happen to know about the abbey. So you know, here's what you know. Here's what you've learned from the villagers. I can recite some information that you've learned from the villagers of Kresk so far, and Dimitri. So you've learned that no one really ever leaves, and that the only thing that they get outside of the city is wine. Everything else they produce themselves. You learned that about once a month, a wagon load of wine is supposed to come from the Wizard of Wines, but that they haven't received their shipment of wine for quite some time. Which
No kidding.
happen to know probably why that would be. You also know that Dimitri and Anna lost all 4 of their kids, not just Ilya, to mysterious illness. You know that the pool was supposed to be a like a shrine and a sort of blessed pool, That is before Strahd supposedly thunderously cursed it or something. You know that the Abbey of, so you know that this is actually called, I think you actually heard Donovan say this back in the village of Barovia. But this is actually called the Abbey of Saint Markovia. That is the official name of this abbey, Abbey of Saint Markovia. And that it's supposed to be named after a priest of the Morning Lord who took a stance against Strahd long ago. And that Markovia and her most loyal followers stormed Castle Ravenloft and were destroyed. And then the Abbey, so the Abbey kind of used to be what you guys, Dimitri told you, the Abbey used to be like a hospital and a convent, but it eventually kind of fell prey to Strahd, and you've heard very strange and ominous laughter, as have the rest of the villagers of Krez, coming from the Abbey direction. And the head of the Abbey, who goes by the Abbot, that is his name, no one actually knows true name besides the Abbot, which is what he goes by, arrived a really long time ago and hasn't aged at all. And occasionally he visits the shrine that is now no longer the shrine it used to be. He doesn't talk much. He's never talked much to the villagers, and no one really knows where he's come from. But there have been rumors in the town that he might even be Strahd himself in disguise, or a servant or something. Nobody really knows. People are kind of scared, but at the same time, he does some good things, and people are kind of willing to like let and be, what's the phrase?
Live and let live.
That one. And that no one really goes to the Abbey anymore, but that the Abbot sometimes comes down, and that the place is sort of filled with sometimes horrible, scary laughter, and that's weird.
Okay.
And you've also heard the bell of the Abbey, because you've seen now the belfry kind of ring at some odd times. You've heard that. And now that you see the belfry, you're putting two and two together and noticing, I've heard that probably.
Didn't you also mention at some point that the people who were in that original like hospital thing like went insane and or became cannibals?
Yes. So Dimitri also said that it is rumored that those who were in the clergy went mad and either starved themselves to death or turned to cannibalism.
Cool. It's gonna be fun for us.
Oh boy.
Again, these are all rumors.
Yeah, of course.
Hearsay.
Allegedly.
Barovia is definitely on the brighter side of all the rumors we've heard so far. So I'm sure it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
We have no reason
to
to
call out to these two figures. Morning Lord's blessings upon you. We come to speak to the Abbot.
Yeah, so
that's a big ignore. Yeah. Nice try.
No, it's not ignore at all. Not ignore at all. No, I love that. Yeah, I love that you said like Morning Lord's blessing upon you. Yeah, that's great. So the first guard approaches, and he stands at less than 5 feet tall, and he's squatting instead of standing upright. He looks like a beardless dwarf, but he has patches of donkey flesh covering his face and body.
Donkey flesh?
That's right.
Donkey. How are we able to identify that it's specifically donkey flesh?
And like
he looks like an ass.
Or it's like he's part donkey.
It looks like he's more part donkey, not like he took donkey skin and glued.
He's not like wearing.
Great.
He's
I'm
not
excited.
wearing donkey. Donkey. He has, as he gets closer, you can see that he has a human ear that looks pretty normal, but on the other side, he has a wolf's ear.
Oh man, this is a Frankenstein.
He also
Frankenstein's monster
has a slightly protruding snout like a wolf, and he has fangs.
Wait, one is donkey and one is part donkey and one is part wolf?
This is all the same guy.
Oh.
We haven't gotten to the
One
same
guy.
guy yet.
We haven't gotten to the other one yet.
All one
Okay.
dude.
The one guy.
Gotcha.
His arms and hands are human and strong looking, very bulky. But his legs and feet are leonine. He has a donkey's tail. He approaches and he's wearing a plain wool cloak
Ramis will try to hide his disgust.
and he's holding a shovel.
Holding the shovel. Oh man, does the shovel look heavily used?
Does the shovel have blood on it?
It looks dirty.
Oh man.
He's been using it to dig.
Just dig in the
holes.
latrine, not graves.
Sure.
And before I'm gonna have them respond to Ramis, I will also describe the other guard.
Oh, good.
The
He looks
second
normal,
guard.
and his name is Charlie.
The second guard is also similarly short, similar in height, almost even a little shorter. The left side of her face and body, full left side of her face and her body is covered with scales, like a lizard. The right side of her body is covered with tufts of gray fur, like a wolf. Between the tufts is some pale-looking human skin. One of her eyes on the wolven side of her body is feline, and her fingers and hands resemble cat's paws with opposable thumbs. She's wearing a she's wearing a gray cloak with a black fur trim, and she is she's like, the cloak is up and over her head, so you can still see her face, but it is up and over her head.
Is it a cloak or is it just an extension of her skin?
It is a cloak, and she's holding the cloak closely to her body. So the two approach, and as Ramis calls out, how do I differentiate?
The female? The cat lizard?
The lizard wolf lady. I'm just hoping you get to know their names soon because they have names. She
Not to us.
I'm gonna ask their names.
she responds back to you in a really gruff sounding voice, and she says, "What are you all doing here?"
We have come to see the abbot.
Can't do a gruff voice.
I was gonna say, are they coughing?
We don't get visitors that often.
Go for the Gollum voice.
This is we have something of interest, we believe, for the abbot.
Whoa! Are we? I thought we were not doing that.
Well, you're carrying a kid on your back.
Yeah, but I didn't want to go inside. I was gonna hang back outside.
We don't have to do. I'm just explaining ourselves to these
Okay.
wolf people.
Okay.
You can hang out outside with them if you want.
And the leonine donkey man lets out a laugh, and his laugh sounds like a donkey's bray.
Oh,
Oh no.
That's a goose. It's like a.
Ramis like kind of jumps and is like startled by the sounds.
And he says, "Gift, abbot. Strange. What gift?"
Can we see the abbot? Can you tell us where he is? We're happy to find him ourselves.
He says, "No, we get abbot. You tell us gift.
Did I say gift?
I think you did.
Hmm.
You might need to review the screencast though.
Can't.
Tell him that Ramis, the Asimar, he will know, has come to speak with him.
And the woman noticed the way that you reacted to her companion. And she squints at you and she says, have you not seen the like of ours before?
Everyone is unique. No.
She says, we're like you. We are not different.
Yes.
Of course. Sure.
And she scans all of you to see if any of you are upset at her appearance,
Oh no.
which you all are.
We're all upset.
She can see if she's gonna see if she can sense it.
What is the lie skill?
Deception.
Deception. Oh, I have +1 in deception. I would like to deceptivize.
I have like
disgust.
crazy fucking deception. Like if she noticed me being disgusted, like kudos to her.
She does not notice. And she turns and she says, I will fetch the abbot. Otto, stay here. And Otto, with his hands, he's got these like big human arms and hands and fists, and he's like walking on them like he's an ape, but with cat feet. So he's like standing there with his arms on the ground, and he looks up at you guys with his snout, and he says, "Sure thing."
So he's a knuckle dragger.
A little, yeah. He just is squatting. He's like a squat guy, and when he squats and stays still, he like puts his arms on the ground. So she turns and she flings her cloak around, and she slowly walks away back towards the abbey. So the abbey, hold on, is back behind where you guys are coming in, the entrance. There's a long road that takes, the abbey is kind of L-shaped in a way. It's a little L-shaped, more like, I don't know, kind of curved almost. And she heads over into the entrance in the center of the L shape and disappears behind view. You all can see where you are, that to your left is the road that leads towards the abbey, and to the right there is a graveyard with tombstones. And there are some stunted pine trees growing out of the rocky earth in the graveyard near the foundation of the abbey's north wing. There are, now that you are within sight of the abbey and in the walls, you can see that there are in fact windows in the structure of the northern wall. And the windows are cracked panes of leaded glass. There are some ancient looking gravestones, really old looking, that are bursting from a very thin crust of snow in the yard. And beyond the low wall that surrounds the graveyard, the ground actually falls away. You can also see the village from here. 400 feet below. And the view is quite literally breathtaking.
Oh, are we suffocating?
And the party dies.
Your breath is gone.
But for just a moment, you find yourself gasping at the sight. So you are sitting there with Otto, who is looking at all of you.
I want to ask him, so what do you do around here? Are you the groundskeeper? Noting his shovel.
Otto nods very vigorously. Yes, groundskeeper, very important.
That's cool. That's cool. How long have you been at this?
He scratches his head with his one hand on the ground. He lifts up his other hand. He scratches his wolf ear. And he says, don't know.
How
Long-
many moons?
How many moons? Many moons. Many moons. Many suns, many moons.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
So what are like you and the you and your partner like brother and sister?
He says,
Fellow
Zyfric.
partners in crime?
Zyfric. No. She's distant relative.
Like many relatives or just one?
Just one.
Cool. Just kick the dirt a little bit while we wait.
He says, yes, he says, come inside. Come wait closer to the door. Come. And he maneuvers and turns and sort of leads you down the initial path, past the graves and towards the center of the L-shaped abbey.
Rumis would like to message Zug.
Ramis, where's your pager? Did you charge it last night?
I'm worried about Zug's juice. I would like to message Zug. And whisper, mostly telepathically, stay at the back of the party if you can, and keep the boy under a cloak or something, as out of sight as you can manage.
Okay. Having heard this, I'll stop and just like rearrange the the kid on my shoulder, thus falling behind everyone. Is there like I don't know, is there like a bush or something nearby
Just leave the kid.
that I can just like throw the kid into?
I'm glad Zug didn't need to pass like an intelligence check to like know what that voice was coming from.
Listen, Zug and I have spoken.
There
A few
are
times.
there are actually plenty of bushes that appear to be around the corner in the graveyard.
Oh, great.
Can I wait
Any
until
fresh graves, Doug?
Mhm.
Just kind of drop them in there.
Not
Yeah,
that you can
actually-
really tell. It kind of looks like there's not a lot of freshness here. Everything's kind of old.
is it possible for me to like hang back more and more until I can just like scoot off for a second and
Bend down to tie your shoe.
throw the kid in a bush?
Yeah, I mean, Otto's not even facing you right now. He's turned towards you.
Let's do that.
Are we gonna be able to get through this?
I just love the idea of ditching this kid like found out by a bush.
So I'm just gonna take this kid and just be like, "Hua!" into the bush,
Are you
and
gonna
I'll
wait
kind of
with
like, huh?
Are you gonna wait with him in the bush?
No, I'll wait like outside. I'll wait outside in case we need something. But my allergies are acting up, and I don't want to be inside where all the dust is gonna just, irritate them. So I'll be outside.
Makes sense. Okay.
So you want to head around the corner to the graveyard to try to ditch him in a bush.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think as this is happening, Ramis will try to engage Otto in conversation by his side.
So Ramis, you will head over up to Otto and attempt to talk to him while Zug is going to walk over to the side. So again, just to sort of, I know this is like hard to keep in mind, but I'm going to try to keep you guys directionally on board. So you guys entered in you entered in on the north side, and like the entrance faces south, essentially. Yeah. So the entrance faces south.
Mhm.
The entrance is on the north side and it faces south. So you guys come in, and to your right, which is going to be the western side of the abbey, is where the graveyard is.
Okay.
And to your left is going to be the eastern side, where Otto is sort of guiding you towards the abbey entrance. So Zug is going to duck out west to the graveyard area around the side of the abbey. And as you do that, you can see that the gravestones all look really old. They all have carved names into them. And you see something that catches your attention.
My attention, specifically mine.
Yes.
Okay.
You see a grave that looks different than all the others. They all look very plain with a simple name carved into them. One of them catches your attention. It is carved with roses and bears a 3-inch diameter sun-shaped indentation on its eastern side. And there is an engraving beneath the indentation with the name Petronova. This specific grave catches your attention because it is different than the rest.
I take note of it and continue to try to find a good bush to ditch this father.
All right, so you are going to ditch the kid in a bush near the graves. There is a tall-looking bush that you can definitely place him nearby. And you stick the kid in a bush. He is still unconscious.
Hit him
Good.
again for good measure.
Yeah, go ahead, just smack him again for good measure.
Yeah, I'll renew his unconscious state. I think that's how it works, right?
That's a way to put it.
Okay, so you are talking to Otto.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you have to say to Otto?
Plenty.
Otto's very interesting.
Is it who else is in the abbey besides you two and the abbot?
Otto says, many reside here.
But they of the cloth? I don't know what the fuck it's called.
Of the cloth?
Are they abbots?
He shakes his head. No, just one abbot. Others are more like me.
I raise my eyebrows to catch his meaning. They are groundskeepers.
He says, some have various jobs. Some, like me, help maintain. We are all we are all in service to the abbot.
How did this come to pass? Is the abbot important to you religiously?
He says, abbot does not trust most of us, but he trusts me. I am very trustworthy, very, very trustworthy, very smart, very handsome. And the abbot also trusts Zeigfreck, but the abbot does not trust all of us, just important ones, given much responsibility, like me.
How did he come to trust you? How did you come to be in his service?
He scratches his head and he says, not sure, but he trusts me for clear reason.
What is this reason? I believe I know, but I want to make sure we are talking about the same thing.
He looks up at you and he looks at you expectantly.
Because you're smart.
And he says, yes, and trustworthy.
And trustworthy. Otto, I do not mean to pry, but you resemble, parts of you resemble other beings. Do all of you have characteristics of multiple species? It is a wonderful combination, I might add.
He says, yes, part lion for being strongest and fastest. He says, part wolf for hearing well.
Do I recognize him as a specific species or like a affliction that I would be aware of, or?
Yeah, so this one's difficult because I don't know like where this would be something that you hear of.
Could I just like roll history and see or something, or is this unique to Barovia?
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna let you roll. It's not specific to Barovia.
Okay.
I think I'm going to let you roll. Yeah, I guess roll, and I'll let everyone roll whichever is higher, history or arcana.
Ooh, okay.
Equally
Or
done.
religion.
Ooh, religion, you say? Man,
All
I
negative two.
Natural one.
Yikes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I got a 23.
22.
Okay.
5.
You just got bored in the middle of that sentence asking about it.
Oh man. Did you roll religion or arcana, Sindra?
I rolled arcana, but I have the same blast in both.
I rolled religion. Can Sindra and Kane have a little conversation about their thoughts together? Given whatever knowledge you're about to impart upon us. She looks over at Kane. You know nothing.
So with a 20-something, Sindra and Kane recognize the type of creature that they are seeing. And there is a general term You maybe have never seen one. You probably have never seen one. But there's a general term for this type of creature, and they are called mongrel folks.
Seems derogatory, Kane. You have
Kind of does.
And
You're
mongrel
not in my
folks,
head,
you guys,
Ramis.
you guys know that mongrel folks either are they're humanoids, and they have either underwent like horrific magical transformations to the extent of like only retaining a fraction of their original being, or they might be descendants of mongrel folks who underwent that horrific transition. So essentially, like a mongrel folk comes into existence by undergoing like a horrific magical transformation, and then the lineage continues to be mongrel folk after that. So mongrel folk colonies can basically exist by like a mongrel folk breeding. So they all have different sorts of features. So they're like kind of a basic humanoid shape, and Otto and Zyfrek both have kind of a basic shape of a dwarf. They're like 4'7" to 4'9" in height. But they have different appearances other than humanoid that, you know, afflict their body in different areas. And you also know that because of that, they sometimes retain special abilities that have to do with the way that their mongrelness is represented. Yeah. So it is possible that, so mongrel folks are basically, if they are offspring of other mongrel folks, and they're not made by magic, but they're made by breeding, they basically are like, they can breed with other humanoids, but all the children are pretty much going to be mongrel folks.
Do we know if there's any kind of common behavior or tendency amongst mongrel folk? Like, are mongrel folk neutral? Are they like are they all fucking assholes? Yeah, like
yeah, so with your basic knowledge of a mongrel folk, they can have any alignment. They're not like all evil. And they don't necessarily come with like anything specific. But sometimes they have, like I mentioned, extraordinary features due to their mongrel folkness.
Animal powers?
In a sense.
They're animorphs.
Now, of course, these specific mongrel folks hold up in this abbey may be different than what your general knowledge of what a mongrel folk is.
So Ramis, knowing none of this, will continue to talk to Otto.
Knowing this, Kane is going to pay special attention to the conversation between Ramis and Otto and try to determine if one or both of them is fucking evil as shit. That's what I'm going for.
Ramis will say, just
have
like
a photo of Otto, by the way.
Oh God, I don't know.
Oh no!
Would you like to see it?
Yeah.
I want to see it.
I don't know if it could be worse than my imagination. So yeah, go for it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
What the hell?
Okay.
All right, Otto.
He's like almost cute. Like if you ignore the human part of his face, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
puppy.
It's like a kobold with half a human face.
I also happen to have a photo of Zyfrek if you'd like to see her.
Yeah, can we get her?
Hot? You said they can breed
name?
humanoids.
They can. Yes, they can.
Oh my.
Oh
Okay.
man, she looks
Okay.
like she wants to dance with Belle.
Yeah, for real.
A little bit.
Okay.
Can you work with that, Ramis?
What's that?
Can you work with that?
I can work with both these two. Yeah, absolutely.
Ramis just told a 14-year-old that he was handsome.
Handsome doesn't need to be like sexual. Like
Yeah.
You told him that you were handsome.
That's a fact. I'm not gonna lie to him.
I am very handsome.
He's young. He's young.
Yeah.
I think I guess tell Otto. Well, no. Do you, Otto? Do you find it strange that you don't remember so much?
He says, I don't know all facts and all things, but Otto's life has been here at the Abbey with the abbot.
Is he like?
No, he's just stating facts. He
Sorry.
says, where are you from? You do not look like the villagers from the village.
No, we are not from the village. We are from a land distant from Barovia, even.
Land distant. No one leaves Barovia.
Sounds like you do not leave the Abbey.
I leave Abbey sometimes,
What do you
only
do?
at night.
Do you visit the town, the village?
Sometimes.
For what purpose?
He says, Otto must eat.
What does Otto eat?
Best food is usually fresh food.
I like fresh food as well, but there are many kinds of fresh food, Otto. What
From the
kind?
check from the check that Ken and I did, will we know what their diet consists of? Like, is it human flesh that they crave, or do they eat fruits and vegetables? Anything like that.
You are not specifically aware of the mongrel folk diet with the knowledge of mongrel folk existing. But you may have, with the knowledge of what a mongrel folk is and understanding that and hearing that, whether or not you've seen one before, you may have also heard that they like dead things.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
we all eat dead things, right? Like a steak. That's a dead thing.
Yeah.
Freshly dead. So fresh, and there's not time to cook it.
Freshly dead.
Like fresh corpses that they dig up in the cemetery?
You suddenly remember
How could I forget?
in the town, some of the cottages. You noticed this when you were first touring with Dimitri. Does Sindri remember?
Yeah, I think each little house had like a little private cemetery behind them,
Yeah, totally.
right? So he probably just does some little backyard hopping and
Yeah, you noticed
fresh
that each
food.
cottage has its own cemetery.
Yeah.
But you also noticed that some of the cottage cemeteries, the graves looked like they had been dug.
Jesus.
That's cool.
That doesn't sound like lawful good behavior.
Don't judge.
So, but Otto is still dodging the question.
You asked what kind of fresh food he eats.
Yeah.
Otto says, usually not more than 3 days old.
Otto, I'm getting a feeling you are describing something distasteful, but you have not said what is 3 days old.
He scowls at you and he says, you think I'm distasteful?
No, I'm just curious what you eat.
He says, why are you so curious about my diet?
Well, He means no harm. We simply haven't had much of a meal yet today. I'm sure he's just got food on his mind.
Hmm. And Otto looks at Kane, who he had not really noticed until now, because according to Otto's examination, you are the least threatening.
That's fair.
And Otto looks at Kane and he says, "You look very old."
That is fair. I have been on this planet for quite some time, I suppose.
And he and he looks you up and down and he says, "Maybe not much longer though."
Oh, why would you say that? I am rather nimble. And Kane holds up his arms. He's like, "Arr."
This is his biceps. Hmm. And Otto nods his head and he says, "Yes, you look capable." And he like turns back away. And at this point, you guys have made it to the sort of entrance area of the Abbey. Again, it's like sort of L-shaped. The entrance is kind of in the center. It's like curvy L-shaped, kind of like like this. So it's in the center is where the entrance is. There's a 15-foot high curtain wall that joins the Abbey's two wings, and behind its battlements, there are two additional guards standing at attention, and their features are obscured by the fog. Below them, set into the wall, is a pair of 10-foot tall wooden doors reinforced with bands of steel. To the right of those doors, mounted on the wall, is a tarnished copper plaque. And the plaque bears the Abbey's name. It says the Abbey of St. Markovia. And under the name of the Abbey, there is a phrase that appears, and it says, "May her light cure all illness." And Otto squats down and he says, "We'll wait here. Zygrick and the abbot should be out soon." And he kind of sits down, hunkers. You guys can also see sort of the road continues north. So the road goes north, kind of juts in to the Abbey entrance, and the road also continues on. I guess to you, it would appear to be like north of you, but technically speaking, it is towards the east. And it leads to like a garden. Looks like a big garden looking area with lots of plants that are looking really neat. And there's a garden gatehouse that stands at the entrance to the gardens. And you guys are waiting, and then after about 9 or 10 minutes, the Abbey entrance double doors are pulled open, because it pushes in from you, pulls open, and there is a foggy courtyard from which appears Zyfrek and the abbot. The abbot appears and walks towards you guys. He is, again, wearing the same garb that you saw him in before. He is wearing a brown monk-looking outfit, monk's robes, essentially. And you see him, and you don't remember him being this handsome, but he is strikingly handsome. More handsome than you remember.
No, he's not.
No, he is physically more handsome than you remember.
Does he look younger?
No,
Just hotter.
just hotter.
It must be the fog.
He's calm and he walks towards you and he says, "Oh, I'm glad you came. Would you like to see that scroll we discussed?"
Yes. Yeah, sure.
Why not? Hell.
We have come for the scroll.
He nods and he says, "Very well." He says, "Please, follow me. Zygfrek and Otto will escort us all inside." And he says to Otto, he says, "Thank you for looking after our guests." And Otto like lets out his donkey laugh again and like howls and taps his like lion's foot in excitement. The abbot walks through the gates, the heavy wooden gates, into the courtyard, beckoning you all to follow.
Yep.
We follow.
Yeah.
All going, okay.
I'm not with the group, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm still in the graveyard, just admiring the handiwork.
Admiring
of
the
ground.
gravestones.
Yeah.
There you go.
The view, the breathtaking view.
Yeah.
The thick fog that fills the courtyard swirls as if eager to escape. Courtyard is surrounded by a 15-foot high curtain wall on which stand several guards with their backs to you, or so it seemed at first. It is clear now that these guards were merely scarecrows. Wooden doors to the north and east lead to the abbey's two wings. In the center of the courtyard, there is a stone well fitted with an iron winch to which a rope and bucket are attached. Along the perimeter of the courtyard, tucked under the overhanging wall, there are several stone sheds with padlocked wooden doors, as well as 3 shallow alcoves that contain wooden troughs. 2 wooden posts pounded into the rocky earth have iron rings bolted to them, and chained to one of them is a short humanoid with bat wings and spider mandibles. The quiet of the courtyard is suddenly shattered by a horrible scream coming from the shed.
What was that?
Did it sound like a donkey?
Who are you asking?
The abbot.
The abbot says, "Don't mind. Follow me."
Abbot, that was a violent scream. Are you not concerned?
He says,
Should we go check?
"There are many screams around here due to the nature of the creatures that I house."
What is the nature of these creatures?
He says, "These are mongrel folk."
I shrugged.
No, you don't know what that is.
Yeah.
He says, "Unfortunately, many of them are descended from a cursed family, and they reside here with me, and I feed them and I take care of them and I give them work to do. There is much work to be done around the abbey, and the mongrel folk, whilst sometimes difficult to trust, do a good job with the work." In the middle of the courtyard, yeah, there is chained to one of the iron rings bolted to the wooden posts, a 5-foot tall, wiry, spindly mongrel folk. And he has 3 red spider eyes on the right side of his face, while the left side of his face appears human. He has a frog's foot in place of his left hand. And he has a taloned crow's foot where his right foot should be. He has bat wings, but they look too small to carry his weight. He laughs at the sound of the shriek coming from the shed.
The chained up guy does?
Yes.
Okay.
And his cackling laugh reminds you very much of Iliad's. And with that,
Aw.
it's 7:30. So next time.
Should we just drop